Welcome to Small Talk with RainKraft. I'm Subha, a leadership and executive coach.
And I'm Hasita, a marketing strategist.
We're just two people who love to talk
and love to learn.
And this is us being curious about the world around us.
Join us. Subha, it would seem that winter is coming.
Ouch.
And I don't mean the great Game of Thrones season. Thank God that's over. But I don't think this is the first December that feels a little gloomy. Don't you agree?
So true. I think while we're better off than a couple of Decembers ago, it's shifted, right, in terms of where things are gloomy now.
Yeah, I mean, we're just, facing problems in a different area. And I think for a lot of us, the potential to be laid off or having actually been laid off is a reality today in a world where hiring opportunities are also not aplenty. So it's not that one industry is laying off and the others lapping it up. It's that all around we are suddenly finding out that we may not have jobs going into the new year. And that's a terrible place to be, I think, emotionally.
So true. I think it'll be good to spend some time today talking about what this really means for the individual. And, something that someone asked me, how do I not take it personally?
Yeah, because it is turbulent emotionally. And you can't help but wonder, was it me? Was it something that I did or didn't do? And you take that into whatever next conversation you end up having. So, yeah, truly, how do you not take it personally?
Hey, small talkers, welcome back as we spend time today talking about the global layoff situation, which some of you may have been unfortunate to be a part of, which some of you may be kind of endlessly worrying about because you're not sure of what's coming. And some of you may be on the other side, having to have these conversations or having to just be there for someone who's going through a difficult time like this. So let's spend some time on it, shall we?
For sure.
I think the thing that you asked me, like, how do you not take it personally? I think that's really key because what we're talking about is a layoff. And fortunately, today, everyone, and including, and I'm genuinely saying it, including senior generations, understand that this is a business reality, right? It's not just something that happens in the Western world countries where the pink slip is, very common on a Monday morning, but it is a business reality across the world, especially given how organizations are structured today. Small startups to funded startups to bootstrapped startups to, so many kinds of ways in which we're getting work done, so many forms of employment, that this can happen. And so for the individual, it's important to remind yourself that what has been communicated to you and the reason why you don't hold that job anymore is not because of your performance. Right? You are not being fired. A layoff is very different from an individual being fired, which is typically due to non-performance or due to breach of some kind of code of conduct. Right? So you no longer earn the right to work there because of your own doing, in a way. Right? A layoff is difficult, and maybe it strangely feels more personal because it impacts you and it's so out of your hands.
Yeah, and sometimes so unexpected as well, right? And I mean, I may or may not see the signs, but when it happens, it's like permanent. It feels very non-refundable in that sense, for lack of a better word. But how do you feel about redundancy, like the word redundant? Because we do see people saying, "I've been made redundant," or that kind of communication. So that, I mean, you're looking for the next job and you have to say something.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about that?
To me personally, it's a very harsh word, right? I always think when I read, and you're right, like we see posts where somebody says, I've been made redundant. I really don't think you or the work you were doing till maybe a day ago, there's nothing redundant about it. For the organization, for the startup, for the company, that work is just as important as it was last week. I think it's only a question of there is some kind of a business situation which is forcing them to look at resources available. How do I deploy them optimally? And in a way, what can I defer for later? Right? So it's you're not redundant, but the work that you're doing perhaps is not as critical as something else, and hence they can think of letting you go. Right? So I somehow just don't like the word redundant, but fine, it's become a part of common usage, and I think don't think of yourself as redundant.
Yeah. Makes sense. And assuming that I have been laid off at very short notice, what should I then do? I walk into my workplace on a weekday morning and I'm there and I'm getting ready to work, and suddenly I see this mail or I get this call that says, go meet HR. I was not prepared for it. So, what can I do now that it has happened? The crash has happened. What is my next, plan of action? What's step one, really?
Yeah. I think it's a very, very tough emotional space to be in. And each of us react very differently to bad news, right? And a lot of it is just who you are. You can't change that overnight.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, maybe this is not the time to be changing that overnight as well.
So true. So true. But do remember that this is in the work context.
Yeah.
Right. So try and do what helps you stay calm. Right. If it means leaving the room, grabbing a cup of coffee, standing by yourself for a bit, taking some deep breaths, if it means calling your spouse or best friend or parent and just letting them know immediately, like one more person in the world knows.
Yeah.
Someone who cares about me. Or if it means just kind of pretending that you didn't hear it, and genuinely, for some folks that helps. That saying, okay, I'm not going to think too much about it right now, it's hit me and I need time to process this, and I'm just kind of going to do mechanically what those around me seem to be doing. Whatever helps you stay calm, and honestly, to not do something stupid, something that you may regret or may seem like not the best uh, course of action.
Also, in that moment of anger, it seems fair,
Yeah.
but then it might have certain unpleasant ramifications
Yeah.
one way or the other.
And stupid can take many forms. Like don't send out a very harsh kind of email to all, or don't run to social media to just vent in that moment. These things leave footprints.
Yeah.
Right. And you are going to very quickly and immediately be reaching out to your network and being out there trying to find your next job.
Yeah.
So just process it in a way that feels right for you, without having to, or making sure that you don't put something out there that you can't take back.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Right. After that, I think once you have been able to process it, maybe it'll take a day, or maybe you don't have that much time and you need to have an immediate conversation with the folks who are in charge. Think about immediately, what do you need? What are your top three worries? Right. Is there this huge EMI which is dependent on this salary?
Yeah.
Is there an insurance, company insurance plan that was critical because your parents are unwell, or you know that you need access to something like that? Do you have the company laptop or vehicle or something else that needs to be returned and there's information on it? So think about what are your top two, three immediate concerns, and what is plan B for each of those.
Yeah.
Right. Reminding yourself that there is a plan B, there is something you can do about it.
Yeah.
Right. There is a severance package, there is something that makes sure that you have a 2-3 month runway.
Yeah.
Right. Remind yourself of that. Remind yourself of whatever savings that you hold, whatever liquidity you have access to, the people that you can reach out to. Right. So that you are not making rash decisions because of that.
But is it worth, in this context, reaching out to the company for help? Does that really make a difference?
I think so. I think a well planned out layoff would also involve the company offering some of this assistance. One is definitely in terms of severance and giving you clarity in terms of what you will receive immediately and over the next few months, etc. Um, make sure that you ask, right? Which is why like words like redundant, etc., puts the person on the defensive as though they did something so wrong that now they don't even have the voice, or they don't even have the power. You were an employee till X minutes ago, and now human to human conversation, ask them, right, for clarity on things that you just now listed as immediate concerns, where you can get inputs from them. Ask for access to certain files. Maybe they're taking away your devices. You say, okay, someone just watch over me, but I need to send these 2 3 very important personal insurance copies, or whatever it is that you need access to that you don't have elsewhere. I need to send them to myself, or I need access to it. And also, very okay to ask for clarity on how much help they can provide in you landing on your feet again very quickly.
Yeah. And that was actually my next question. I mean, when a layoff happens, there's no timeline as such as to when I might potentially be rehired. And sometimes I think we have to make peace with the fact that it may take a few months rather than a few weeks. How do I prepare for that period of time? What kind of help should I seek? Is it more that I should focus on my skill set at that point, or is there something else that I can do just to, like you said, not feel the redundancy, right? I may not actually be, but the feeling continues to stay with me.
Correct. No, I think it's very fair to reach out to those seniors in the organization, maybe someone who's been your mentor, or the HR, or the folks who are driving this, whoever you have access and comfort with. One, for clarity. Two, to say, hey, how can you help me? Right? I'll send you my resume. Can you send it to a few people? Can you put us on to the consultant that the organization uses, right, to help us find jobs elsewhere? And I've heard some organizations are doing this. Can you fund some skill building courses for us that would be relevant or more or useful for a job that I'm now going to have to search for, right? I think just ask. Yes, you may get a no, no, no to everything, but you're better off having asked. And some of those things may work out. Some of those things may lead to newer ideas or something else that you can do. So don't hesitate. Don't feel like it's, you know,
You're isolated suddenly.
Yeah. Like you don't have to sever ties with these people so harshly. Many of them who are passing on the information to you may just be that, maybe messengers in some way. Sometimes I've also heard like those who are fortunate enough to stay behind in a way when there are mass layoffs, etc., are are looking for ways to help the others. Right. So, but they need to know that one, you're open to that, you are willing to communicate about that, you're willing to stay in touch, so that they can then put their network and their ideas to good use too.
So true. This is definitely helpful, Subha, because I think the first thing we need to do is recover from that shock, right? And I think we all want to believe that it won't happen to us. But I think in today's day and age, that guarantee is not there. And that was my next question to you, actually. I have noticed in the company that lots of folks are getting laid off, and my turn might just come up next. In general, there's that sense of uncertainty that there are conversations happening about how we are running out of funding. How do I manage myself while I'm essentially waiting for the other shoe to drop?
Yeah, I think it's important in today's context and business reality is that, in a way, like you said, it's not something that happens only to someone else. Interestingly, even in the initial days of COVID, right, for a lot of us, it felt like they may someone else can catch COVID, but I won't, right? Like I'm better off or whatever. So I think always, and this is a good to do as an employee anywhere, or in whatever form your employment takes. stay alert and be aware of what's happening in that industry. What kind of work is finding more work, right? What kind of products and solutions and services are finding more customers? Where is there some kind of a drag? Where is there some kind of a slowdown, right? Keep close tabs on your organization's performance.
Yeah.
Know the big picture, at least, that hey, Q4 was better or worse than Q3. Where are the areas that we've struggled? How could I possibly be impacted, right? Who are the clients that we tried and didn't get? What does that say? Who are the clients who are kind of downsizing their work with us? What should that tell me about my own work and contributions, etc.? You talked about funding in smaller companies and startups. I think sometimes even be wary of too much good news. Yeah. In fact, I was just going to say that in terms of, I've achieved hyper growth. My product was indispensable, and therefore we presumed that that growth would continue, and suddenly you become this large organization, which may no longer be growing at the kind of pace that they set out to grow at. Maybe that there's a sign there as well. If there are too many conversations on investor meetings and presentations, maybe it's a good time to ask a few questions and get some information. Correct. Like, or if there's just rapid hiring in some streams without seeing the client list to back it up, or even the the vision to back that up. I think ask the questions and be ready to hear the that, or be ready to kind of acknowledge that nobody seems to have an answer. So this is that's probably a good time to also consider just getting out, I suppose. Yeah, and keeping that resume ready and keeping your network kind of connected to the right people, or start thinking about who you should be talking to, what you should be exploring. I think it's very, very real today. It could happen to any of us. Even for the kind of work we do as kind of freelance or contract based work, we have to, and in a way we're always doing that. We're always looking for the signs. Obviously. And it sounds very morose, but that's how you survive, right? So I think we've imbibed that to some extent. Now, Subha, you've spoken about getting help from the system from which I was let go of. Is there a bad way to let someone go, or let me put it this way, is there a good way to let someone go if I had to do that? No, I think we've, and today I largely wanted to talk about what we do as individuals, right? Because there's just so much we are already seeing and hearing out there about how the other side, how the employers have handled layoffs, some good and some really horrendous, right? And the horrendous stuff comes out, and sometimes the good doesn't. But I think as an employer, just I would say three things. One, communicate in excess if you can. Like, just communicate. Just keep telling people things which they can know, right? In that communication and in general, give clarity where you can. Try and avoid vagueness. They're not going to run away with that information and do something with it, right? Just give them clarity. What are timelines? What can you expect? Where what are we thinking, etc. How we will help you, how we can't. uh, can we look at hiring you back after a year? What is it that you can give them clarity about? Right. And I think finally that the big E of empathy. Right? Just this is important. I mean, you don't be callous about it. It's a big deal for somebody. It is. It's somebody's life journey. And don't be that CEO on a Zoom call. Don't be the CEO weeping and crying and making it about themselves. Yeah. Fair enough. So I think it is. It's real. It's winter. It is a tough time to be looking for a job. Right. I was just reading today that a lot of campus placements now are showing the signs, right? That's the other area where it begins to correct, right? Begin to fall. It's a good indicator of how things are doing. So it could be one of us, and it's not your fault. It is what it is. Um, and I think the impermanence of it sometimes, I think that this is also not forever. And that maybe there is hope.
on the horizon after all, because everything does consolidate. And the same industry market that's closing in will also open up tomorrow. And that's where all opportunities come from eventually.
There's always hope, guys, and there is, what goes down comes up. Business cycles are cycles.
Yeah.
And just put yourself in the position to take charge of some of these opportunities that may come your way. Be open to them.
Yeah.
Don't close yourself out from the world. Don't feel like you need to hide. There's no shame.
in this happening.
It happened, and I'm so glad that more and more people are willing to put it out there, right, in various forums in a very um, kind of elegant and dignified way, that hey, this happened to me and I'm looking to move forward, and either I'm looking for something immediately, so please help.
Yeah.
Or this is the break that I think I needed, so I'm going to take some time off and do XYZ. Do your thing, do what works for you, and know that the tide will turn and come back with full strength and full energy. So that's it, folks, and hope this is helpful, and do hope you don't have to go through something like this at all in your career. But when it happens, it is what it is, and
it's take it. Be prepared. I mean,
yeah, it's good to be prepared. Yeah, take it in its stride.
Yeah.
See you next time, folks.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, small talkers. Thank you for listening till the very end. We love bringing these episodes to you, and we hope you enjoy them too. Please do drop in your comments, likes, shares, reviews, whatever you can do on the platform that you're on to help us reach a larger and larger audience. And that would really make our day. You can find out more about today's guest or today's episode in the show notes. All the details and how you can find us on social media is right there. Thank you, and see you next time. Bye.